Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, the dorky token black guy that's just trying to get by. And welcome to another edition of the Token 10. My top 10 list of a particular subject matter, and this Token 10 is in conjunction with the Street Fighter flashback. In celebration of the 30th anniversary of Street Fighter, I'm taking it upon myself to share my memories of playing the arcade and console games at those period of times, and as well share my thoughts and review other Street Fighter related media. A few days ago, I actually gave my top 10 Street Fighter character list, excluding people that were Shotos and people that appeared in other video game series. Well, you know what? I just shared my thoughts on Street Fighter 4, so I think right now is a good time that I can actually share with you guys my top 10 Shotos of the Street Fighter franchise. Now, for those that don't know, Shotos are basically the people that have the same or similar fighting style as the protagonists Ryu and Ken. While they are retconned into their fighting style being called Ansatsuken, aka Assassin's Fist, initially they were referred to as Shotokan style fighters. Hence, they have the term Shoto stuck with them. Alright? So, here are my top 10 Shotos in the Street Fighter franchise. Alright? And I'm going to start the list off with number 10, Gotetsu. The sensei of Goken and Goki. The exploits of Gotetsu are the ones that actually set in motion the plot of the franchise. Goku, being the last surviving practitioner of what is considered the most traditional form of Assassin, Gotetsu was known to be basically a very stern teacher that basically was very, very strict with basically teaching strength and basically destroying your opponent if they opposed you. However, Gotetsu found a balance within Assassin that basically, both Goken and Goki took each side to the extremes, where Goken wanted to reform Assassin into a more harmonized and peaceful yet defensive martial arts style. Goki embraced the dark, destructive path, and it was the balance that Gotetsu found and how his disciples were into the both extreme forms was what led to his downfall, as basically he encountered Goki, who embraced the full side of the Satsu no Haju. Goketsu is the only character that I'm suggesting that is not playable, but he is nonetheless an important character, and to be honest, it would be really cool to see him in video game form, in playable action, and I hope that can happen sometime in the future. Number 9, Dan Hibiki. Okay, so Dan was brought to us from Street Fighter Zero, and he's supposed to be a parody of the Ryoku no Ken, in America and in the West known as Art of Fighting, characters from SNK. So he's supposed to be a parody of a combination of Ryo and Robert, and I'll be honest, as a parody he works, but he is one of those characters that I personally find is overused. While it's nice to have a comic relief character, he is just so aggravating and annoying that the joke was cool in the first two games in the Alpha series, but him making repeated appearances in games after games after games, oh god, it just got aggravating. It so pissed me off that they actually brought him into the Street Fighter 4 series. Anyway, so Dan Hibiki. I don't want to talk about him anymore. I'd rather talk about number 8. Well, really not as much, but number 8 is Kari from Street Fighter EX. Now, the EX series is pretty unique. It was Street Fighter's first foray into 3D, and while the graphics were terrible, and while some of the, not only the graphics were terrible, some of basically the moves executed were not as flashy or did not look like they packed the punch. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, but Gari, made by a different company called Akira, if I believe that's correct, Gari is so freaking generic. Basically, he's an asthmatic who studied a form of karate and everything, but we all know it has to be an offshoot of Ansatsuken because he's got the Dragon Punch and he's able to pull off his own version of the Son Goku Satsu, aka Raging Demon. And he's just a basic, generic anime type character with not much personality, While it's cool to see him punch through somebody, I really can't say that this guy is very memorable. And it's apparent that he is very forgotten. When people talk about EX, they normally don't talk about Kari. Alright? Number 7, Goku, who made his first appearance in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Why is Goku so low on this list? Well, Goku was one of those characters that when he first came out was badass. It was cool to see somebody do a Hadouken in the air. It was cool to see him pull off the Shun Goku Satsu and everything. Awesome moves and everything. And then in Super Street Fighter, not Super Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, it was really cool that he had that new super move where he just slam his fist or his palm to the ground and create a wave. But the thing is, Goku is, as a character, he's just a little OP. They balance him out a little bit, but when they balance him out, he was not as impressive, not as strong and everything. And, while he's a very formidable force in the games and in the franchise, personality-wise, it's, I'm sorry. He's a huge obstacle, but that's it. I don't feel some excitement or some sense of dread and everything. He's basically like, a wandering villain and everything. Well, he's not really a villain, but he is an antagonist. And you can't really say that he's evil, but you can't really say that he's evil, but, he's not a good guy. And he's just there. He's cool to play with from time to time, but, his popularity for me, actually, and his awesome moveset kind of waned on me and everything. So where other people tended to grow and become, a little bit better over time, he still remains a product of the 90s for me. And it has become, too old school for me and everything. Number 6, Sakura. Me liking Sakura more than Goku? Well, here's the thing. Sakura was a very interesting idea in the Alpha series. And to be honest, she is one of those characters that can still grow, which one of the disappointing things about her is that Capcom has not allowed her to grow. As someone that observed Dew in action and became a huge fan of his, we find out that she's actually a fighting prodigy. Somebody that is able to tap into the Mudo Hadu and everything without any formal training, Eventually, she got trained by Dew only for a couple of months, but in those few months, she was able to pull off some pretty cool moves and to top it off as, someone that could carry the torch for the next generation of Ansatsuken. Sakura has a lot of growth potential and is very fun to play with. Plus, she has that schoolgirl optimism personality, which is very charming and endearing. And, while I used to joke about calling her a Sailor Moon bitch, playing her in the arcades, I cannot doubt that, Sakura is one of those characters that is very fun to play with and is a breath of fresh air. I just wish Capcom would give her more room to grow and have her do more things in the future. Hopefully so, if they ever actually pull off a Street Fighter 6, which takes place after 3, and we see a more grown, mature Sakura that is not stuck as a schoolgirl. Well, basically, that's it for now, guys. I'm going to give my I'm going to have to go to part 2 a little bit later. But what do you guys think of the list so far? Agree? Disagree? Drop me a comment below. Give me a like. Follow me on Facebook at Token Dave. And follow me on Twitter at TokenDave80. Subscribe and ring that bell so you know when a new video loads. But until then, this has been Token Dave, the dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. And I'll catch you guys later.